So one thing is quite certain with this new game called Helldivers, and that is it's taking, the gaming scene by storm. After all the noise a lot of gamers made about, well, we don't like live services, many of them are playing Helldivers, even forgiving Helldivers for the errors, mistakes, shortcomings that the game is having. So this is quite interesting, and there's a reason I'm bringing this up in light of the Division and the Division 2 and the developers and the decision makers that are basically sending down maybe ideas, mandates, or whatever from top down. Like, look at this particular quote. Forgive me, this was actually done February 20th, yesterday, if I'm not outraged over the Helldivers issues. It's pretty clear they're dealing with success that nobody was ready for. Not even us. This game shares a global server, so we can all fight the fight together. It sucks, but I choose to be understanding in this situation. Oh, give me a break. Now, we cannot go around just taking, anything that is handed to us as gamers. There is quality that you actually enter into an agreement with when you buy a product like this, that you're going to be getting a good deal. But that's not really even the main crux of this video. The main crux of this video is, can you imagine right now being the decision maker that decided that you were going to put a Division continuity on the back burner so that you could pursue expensive IPs? And I think this particular decision-making stance has, for the most part, in my opinion, been very strange. Many of you remember that there was a weird shift in Massive a few years back where the GM of the studio, went on a sabbatical and they said was going to be doing something in Ubisoft and eventually left Ubisoft. I don't know what may have transpired. None of us know. Only the parties involved and maybe other parties that they cared to let know what went on. But it was very interesting that at a time where they could have been expanding on the universe, there was a huge, in my opinion, leadership change that maybe was for the good of the whole thing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, somebody should have looked at the books. I think that's probably where it needs to be, because this is a game that kind of intersected very, very carefully with what fans wanted and where, in my opinion, fans were willing to spend their money, which was basically put it in the coffers of the publishers and the developers should they had given us, or had they given us, I guess that's how I should put it, a good product that we wanted. And I think this whole conversation is starting to probably maybe make its way across the board. Ubisoft Massive, you're sitting on a live service RPG looter shooter that is 40 times better than any single thing that Helldivers has done. Helldivers 2, no doubt about that. I mean, it took it a while to get to 40 times better, but at launch, it was already good enough to be able to even still outclass a lot of these other games. And for some reason, this got put in the back burner. Now, I probably could say, okay, maybe I have my gripes. Maybe, they probably should not have prioritized an Avatar game that didn't necessarily resonate well. I was excited to play the game, but when the game launched, I had no time. Perhaps, maybe they should have probably continued with what they did with the Division 2. Now, what I mean is, after the Division 1 launched and they saw the success, they quickly pulled a team together to start developing another game. And that was what became the Division 2. Seeing the technical challenges around 2020 and seeing the technical transformations, that should have cued them into starting a Division 3 immediately. What I mean by that is, they were no longer constrained with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which were, in my opinion, the biggest constraints for basically going all out crazy with a game like The Division. So this should have probably signaled to them and said, hey, let's pull together a small team like that can start to conceptualize, put together a prototype, something that already has the systems that we've established from the Division 1 to Division 2. There is a plethora of all kinds of tools that I'm sure the engines, the Snowdrop engines, asset libraries that they've had and built for the Division. I mean, with the developers that they have, ladies and gentlemen, you have to listen to this. Ubisoft has some of the best technical developers in the world. These folk can basically make any game that Ubisoft wants to make. Now, you may argue as to the quality or to the desirability of the game, but from a technical perspective, as somebody who basically churns game development in and out every day, looking around, actually working on different game development projects, myself, I can tell you that the things that they're doing there is insane. Yet, it's interesting that putting together a prototype for probably another Division game that would leverage new hardware, new consoles, and everything that was showing its head a year after the first game came out somehow did not resonate anywhere, that we had to hear from some gaming outlet, Insider Gaming, that at first there was no plans to make a Division game, then to hear again from Ubisoft after maybe somebody had looked around and said, yo, we need to get back on the books. But time is lost. I'm hoping that the developers can probably learn from this. Oh yeah, they were doing Heartland. Where's Heartland anyways? Peace out.